The moment emotions pull you closer, authority weakens. Distance is not coldness, it is control. And control is what makes you untouchable. Emotional distance is often misunderstood as indifference or lack of empathy. In reality, it is neither. Emotional distance is the deliberate separation between internal state and external stimulus. It is the ability to observe without being absorbed. This separation is what allows command. Those who react emotionally collapse this separation. Their internal state becomes visible and exploitable. Every reaction becomes a signal. What hurts them, what excites them, what destabilizes them. Once these signals are visible, control transfers outward. Authority requires opacity, not secrecy, but restraint. When others cannot read your emotional temperature, they cannot predict or manipulate your behavior. Emotional distance creates this opacity. In Machiavellian terms, visibility is vulnerability. The more predictable your emotional reactions, the easier you are to influence. Emotional distance interrupts this predictability. This does not mean suppressing emotion. Suppression leads to leakage, uncontrolled outbursts, passive aggression, resentment. Distance is different. It is conscious regulation. Emotion is acknowledged internally, but denied dominance externally. Those with emotional distance choose response over reaction. Reaction is immediate and automatic. Response is delayed and deliberate. Delay introduces power. In any hierarchy, the individual who reacts least is observed most. Others look to them for cues. Silence becomes authority. Stillness becomes gravity. This is why emotionally distant individuals are often described as intimidating without intention. Their presence does not fluctuate. Stability unsettles those who rely on emotional exchange. Emotional distance also protects decision-making. When emotions are too close, judgment becomes biased. Fear magnifies risk. Excitement blinds consequence. Anger narrows options. Distance restores perspective. This perspective allows decisive action. Decisiveness reinforces authority. Authority reduces challenge. The cycle strengthens itself. Those who lack emotional distance chase resolution. They explain, they justify, they seek closure. Those with distance allow ambiguity to exist. Ambiguity keeps others uncertain, and uncertainty favors the composed. In leadership, emotional distance prevents favoritism and resentment. Decisions appear principled rather than personal. This creates legitimacy even among those who disagree. The Machiavellian principle is clear. Emotional distance does not push others away. It places you above emotional negotiation. When others cannot pull you emotionally, they must engage strategically. Command begins where emotional accessibility ends. Every interaction is a negotiation, whether acknowledged or not. Emotional availability turns that negotiation against you. When your emotional state is easily accessible, others unconsciously learn how to move you. This movement becomes leverage. Emotionally available individuals believe openness creates connection. In reality, it creates entry points. Each visible reaction teaches others what to apply pressure to and what to avoid. Over time, behavior around you adjusts not out of respect, but out of optimization. This is not villainy. It is human instinct. People adapt to emotional signals to maximize advantage. The more signals you emit, the easier this adaptation becomes. Machiavellian strategy emphasizes minimizing exploitable information. Emotional distance reduces signal output. It forces others to operate with incomplete data. Those who are emotionally available often feel misunderstood. They explain themselves repeatedly. They believe clarity will fix the problem. Instead, explanation compounds exposure. Each clarification refines others' ability to influence them. Emotional distance reverses this dynamic. It introduces uncertainty. Others must guess. Guessing creates hesitation. Hesitation weakens initiative. This is why calm individuals dominate tense situations. Others look for reaction to calibrate their own behavior. When none arrives, momentum stalls. Control shifts. Importantly, emotional distance does not eliminate connection. It restructures it. Connection forms around respect, not access. Respect endures longer than emotional familiarity. Emotionally distant individuals are also harder to provoke. Provocation relies on emotional availability. Without reaction, provocation fails. Failure discourages repetition. In power dynamics, provocation is often used to test boundaries. Those who react reveal limits. Those who do not remain undefined. Undefined boundaries are harder to cross. This creates psychological asymmetry. Others must manage their behavior carefully while you remain unaffected. Asymmetry is advantage. Emotional availability also creates obligation. When you give emotion freely, others expect it consistently. Failure to provide it later is perceived as betrayal. Emotional distance avoids this trap. Those who maintain distance set a stable baseline. Their behavior does not oscillate with mood. Predictability in action, not emotion, becomes their signature. The Machiavellian insight is uncompromising. Access reduces authority. The more emotionally accessible you are, the more negotiable your position becomes. Authority is preserved by restraint. Restraint is preserved by distance. Affection feels powerful because it creates warmth. Respect is powerful because it creates structure. The two are not opposites, but when forced to choose. Respect outlasts affection in every hierarchy. Emotional closeness accelerates familiarity. Familiarity erodes formality. Formality is what preserves boundaries. Once boundaries soften, behavior shifts. Comments become casual. Expectations increase. Deference fades. Those who rely on affection to maintain influence eventually feel taken for granted. The dynamic flips. What once felt like connection becomes entitlement. Emotional distance interrupts this decay. It slows familiarity. Slowness preserves form. Form preserves respect. This is why emotionally distant figures are often described as hard to read or intimidating. The intimidation does not come from aggression, it comes from uncertainty. Uncertainty forces caution. Respect emerges when others must regulate themselves around you. Emotional distance triggers this self-regulation. People think before they speak. They observe reactions that never arrive. They adjust tone unconsciously. Affection does the opposite. It invites ease. Ease invites carelessness. Carelessness breeds disregard. In Machiavellian structures, courts, councils, organizations, distance has always been used deliberately. Rulers limited access. Leaders maintained reserve. This was not cruelty. It was hierarchy maintenance. When everyone feels emotionally equal, structural equality is assumed. Authority dissolves. Distance also protects decision authority. When emotional bonds are tight, decisions feel personal. Disagreement becomes emotional betrayal. Leaders either hesitate or overcompensate. With distance, disagreement remains procedural. Decisions are seen as strategic rather than emotional. This preserves legitimacy even under conflict. Those who mistake affection for influence often attempt to regain control through explanation or emotional appeal. This accelerates decline. Influence cannot be begged back. Distance once lost is difficult to restore. This is why initial positioning matters. Emotional restraint early establishes baseline authority. Respect also scales. Affection is personal and limited. Respect extends across groups. Emotional distance allows authority to function beyond intimate circles. The Machiavellian law is simple. Affection invites comfort. Distance enforces structure. Structure determines who leads and who follows. Those who choose affection over distance gain warmth briefly and lose authority permanently. Power operates best when it cannot be fully mapped. Predictability invites strategy against you. Unreadability collapses that strategy before it forms. Most people believe being understood is strength. In reality, being understood is exposure. Once others understand your emotional triggers, priorities, and fears, they can anticipate you. Anticipation neutralizes authority. Emotional distance disrupts anticipation. When your emotional reactions are minimal or delayed, observers lose feedback. They cannot confirm assumptions. They cannot test limits reliably. Every move they make carries uncertainty. Uncertainty forces caution. Caution slows aggression. Slowness favors the composed. Unreadable individuals dominate negotiations without speaking much. Silence becomes pressure. Stillness becomes interrogation. Others begin to fill the gap, explaining, justifying, revealing more than intended. This is a classic Machiavellian asymmetry. You learn more while revealing less. Emotional distance also neutralizes manipulation. Manipulation requires emotional hooks: guilt, flattery, urgency, fear. When these hooks fail to generate reaction, manipulators abandon the attempt or expose themselves. This exposure shifts power decisively. Unreadability also protects reputation. Emotional reactions, once displayed, are remembered. A single outburst can redefine how others categorize you. Distance prevents reputation damage by reducing memorable emotional moments. Instead, you become associated with consistency. Consistency builds trust in outcomes. Even if not in intimacy, trust in outcomes is what authority depends on. Those who remain emotionally distant are often accused of being cold or arrogant. This accusation itself is evidence of effectiveness. It reflects frustration from those unable to access or influence you. Importantly, emotional distance does not mean deception. It means selective visibility. You are not hiding. You are choosing what matters enough to reveal. This selectivity also creates gravity. People lean in when information is scarce. Attention flows toward what is not freely available. In leadership and conflict, unreadability forces others to commit first. Whoever commits first reveals position. Revealed positions can be countered. The Machiavellian insight is precise. Clarity benefits the weak. Ambiguity benefits the strong. Emotional distance manufactures ambiguity without effort. When others cannot read you, they must adapt to you. Adaptation is submission in slow motion. Emotion itself is not the enemy. Uncontrolled emotion is. The Machiavellian does not eliminate emotion. He repurposes it. Emotional distance creates the space required for this conversion. When emotion is immediate, it demands expression. Expression releases energy, but sacrifices position. Once expressed, emotion cannot be undone. Words linger, reactions are remembered, authority suffers. Distance introduces delay. Delay allows emotion to be examined rather than obeyed. What remains after examination is usable information. Anger, when distant, becomes clarity about boundaries. Fear becomes risk assessment. Desire becomes direction. Without distance, these emotions become noise. Those who maintain emotional distance are not less intense, they are more precise. Precision amplifies impact. This precision is what makes emotionally distant individuals appear strategic rather than reactive. Others mistake restraint for passivity. They learn too late that restraint is preparation. In conflict, emotionally distant individuals choose when to escalate and when to withdraw. Their timing is deliberate. Timing defines outcome. Emotionally reactive individuals escalate prematurely. Premature escalation reveals position and exhausts leverage. Distance preserves leverage. Distance also prevents emotional exhaustion. Constant emotional engagement drains focus. Detachment conserves energy for decisive moments. The Machiavellian advantage is cumulative. Small emotional victories compound into large strategic dominance. Emotionally distant individuals also command narrative control. They do not rush to explain or defend. Silence allows narratives to form organically. When they finally speak, their words carry disproportionate weight. Those who speak emotionally often speak too much. Excess speech dilutes authority. Distance also enables selective aggression. Aggression without emotional charge is terrifyingly effective. It is perceived as intentional rather than impulsive. The Machiavellian law is final here. Emotion is fuel. Distance is the engine. Without distance, emotion burns uncontrolled. With distance, it powers movement. Those who master this conversion are not cold. They are untouchable. At the highest tier of power, emotional expression becomes unnecessary. Authority no longer competes, explains, or persuades. It exists. Emotional silence is the final refinement of emotional distance. Those who reach this level are not unfeeling. They are resolved. Resolution removes the need for emotional display. Emotional silence creates finality. Others sense that your position is not under negotiation. Attempts to provoke, flatter, or intimidate collapse without response. This silence is not passive. It is communicative. It signals certainty. Certainty deters challenge more effectively than aggression. Those who break emotional silence too often invite re-engagement. Each emotional expression reopens negotiation. Silence closes it. In Machiavellian history, the most powerful figures were not verbose or emotionally expressive. They spoke rarely and decisively. Their restraint amplified impact. Emotional silence also protects identity. Public emotional reactions redefine you in others' minds. Silence preserves ambiguity. Ambiguity preserves authority. At this level, others project onto you. Projection creates fear, respect, or caution depending on the observer. You remain unaffected. This asymmetry is the essence of untouchable authority. Those who cannot maintain emotional silence seek validation. Validation binds them emotionally to others. Binding creates vulnerability. The emotionally silent remain free. Freedom is the ultimate form of power. The Machiavellian principle concludes here. The less you reveal emotionally, the harder you are to move. What cannot be moved cannot be defeated.